Welcome back, 5th grade, to our second lesson. Today we are going to be working with problem solving, customary, and metric conversions. This is lesson 10.6. So what I do when I create these PowerPoint presentations is I go through the interactive student edition and personal math trainer myself so that I know what you guys are going to have to be doing on the assignment, and I kind of give you a rundown in this video lesson so that you can be more successful on those assignments, because those are what we are taking for grades. So let's dive right in. So the first thing that we're going to be doing today is we're going to be looking at conversion tables. Okay, so they already have this first one done for you. Okay, and I am going to show you now how they got all of these answers. Okay, so what we're doing is we're going from cups to gallons. So what we're doing is we're going smaller to bigger. And when we're going smaller to bigger, we need to remember that we are always dividing. So that's why you see fractions down below here, because when we are dividing, there's always going to be a fraction. Because remember, what does that line mean? It means that we're using division. Okay, so I'm going to show you now how they got these answers here. So what they did is they went to their conversion table. Okay, they went to 1 cup because that was first. Okay, so they went to cup. Then they pointed and they met cup and gallon in the middle, which gave us 16. Okay, so since we're dividing, we know it's going to be 1/16. So they did that again. So it's 1/16 for 1 cup. So 2 cups is going to be 2/16. All they did was simplify it to be 1/8. Okay. And we have 3/16, 4/16. 4/16 simplified 5th grade is 1/4. So for the next problem, it's a little bit trickier. So since we are dividing, what we actually have to look at is we have to do 100/16. And we know that that line between the 100 and 16 means division. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to take 100 divided by 16, because the number on the top goes inside the division symbol, the number on the bottom goes outside, because it's 100 divided by 16. Okay, 16 does not go into 1, 16 does not go into 10. However, 16 does go into 100. If you don't know how many times, we're just going to come over here to the side and do a little bit of scratch work. So I'll start with 7. How about? 7 times 6 is 42, carry my 4, then we have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That is too big, so that is not going to work for me. Okay, I'm going to erase that. All right, this time I'm going to do 16 times 6, 36. 6 times 6 equals 36. 6 times 1 equals 6, plus 3 is 96. There we go, that's the highest that we're going to get for 16. 16 goes into 100 6 times, okay? We have 96 left over. We know, following our procedures, that we do subtraction here. 100 minus 96, I grab 96, I go 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. That gives me 4 left over. So 6 and 4/16, okay? So we know that 4/16 can be simplified. We can divide them both by 4. That gives me 6 and 1/4, which is the answer they got there for 100, okay? So moving on to our next. We are now working with millimeters, decimeters, centimeters, and meters here on this conversion table, okay? They did not do this one for us here. We are moving from millimeters to decimeters. That means we are going bigger, converting to smaller, okay? So when we are going bigger to smaller, we are always multiplying, okay? So we have 1 meter. I go to my meter here, I go to 1. Then I go over to decimeter and meter, and I meet them in the middle. That gives me 10. So what I'm going to be multiplying 1 by, I do 1 multiplied by 10 gives me 10. 2 multiplied by 10 gives me 20. 3 multiplied by 10 gives me 30. 4 multiplied by 10 gives me 40. And our big one here, 9 multiplied by 10 gives me 90. Okay, so bigger to smaller, we are always multiplying. Okay. Okay, this is a little bit of a tricky question that they ask you in your personal math trainer today. So I wanted to give you a little bit of a head start, okay? So today, 5th grade, we are working on problem solving, okay? You have to be problem solvers. You really have to dig deep and read these questions and try and figure them out. They're not going to be cut, clean, and dry. You have to use your deeper thinking, and you really have to work hard to see if you can get the correct answer, okay? So I'm going to read this aloud. Maria put trim around a banner that is in the shape of a triangle. Each side is 20 inches long. Maria has 1 foot of trim left, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a triangle because I'm a visual person, okay? Each side takes 20 inches, okay? So that's 20 plus 20 plus 20. That gives me 60 inches, okay? She still has another foot left over, okay? So you all know that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So I'm trying to figure out how many inches I have all together. So 5th grade, all I have to do is add 60 plus 12. That gives me 72 inches, okay? So now I need to figure out how many feet that is. So again, I know that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to take 72 divided by 12. Okay, so our 12s are hard for us. Okay, so I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do 12 and I am going to multiply it by 6. Carry my 1. Oh, there we go. 72, 6 feet. Okay, so we know that there are 6 feet in 72 inches. But we're not done yet. It says, what was the length of the trim when she started in yards? Okay, so this is where you have to go back. You have to use your prior knowledge on all of the lessons that we worked with so far in chapter 10, okay? We know that there are 3 yards, or 3 feet in each yard. So 3 feet equals 1 yard. So if I come down here, you guys, I have 6 feet. You all know that there are 3 feet in 1 yard, so she had 2 yards when she started, okay? Don't make that more complicated than it has to be, okay? All right, this one is also a little bit complicated, so I wrote it out for us, okay? So Kevin, he's making a picture frame. He has a piece of trim that is 3 feet long, okay? So we are trying to figure out how many 14-inch pieces can Kevin cut from the trim. So first things first, we have 3 feet. So 12 inches equals 1 foot. We have 3 of those, so I'm going to multiply 12 by 3. 2 times 3 equals 6. 3 times 1 equals 3. So we have 36 inches of trim that we're working with. Kevin is trying to figure out how much feet he will have left over. So we have to come over here. We have to do 36. Guys, we have to divide it by 14 because that's the length of the pieces that he's making, okay? So 14 goes into 36 2 times. I know in my head 2 times 14 equals 28 because double 1 is 2, double 4 is 8. Then I do my subtraction, okay? Can't take that, so we have to give the 1 to the 16. That gives us 8/14 left over. This is where it gets super, super tricky, okay? This was actually very confusing for me even, okay? So I have my 2. I know I can do 2 14-inch pieces. Then it says how much of a foot is left over. So this is where it gets complicated. So we have to look at the 8 here. 8 is what we have left over. We have it 14 here, but what we actually have to do is we have to take 8 divided by 12 because there's 12 inches in a foot, okay? So 12 can't go into 8 by itself, I know that. So I have to put a 0, do my subtraction, then we can go 8/12 here, okay? I know that both of these can be divided by 4. So we have 2/3 of a foot left over. That's right, 2/3, okay? So that's a little bit complicated. So when you're working with these, how much is left over, you have to take the numerator from your fraction here, and you have to divide that numerator by 12, okay? All right, so now we're going to get into a little bit of a different type of problem here. Okay, so we are working with another table. Okay, we're working with gallons and quarts. We are going from gallons to quarts, so we are going bigger to smaller. Okay, and bigger to smaller means that we are going to be multiplying. Okay, so I need to go back to my chart. Okay, my question is gallons to quarts. I find gallon, I find quart. I meet them in the middle. We get 4 because we're multiplying. So it becomes 4, not 1/4. 1/4 would be if we were dividing, but we're going bigger to smaller, so we're multiplying. 1 times 4, 2 times 4 equals 8, 3 times 4 equals 12, 4 times 4 equals 16, 10 times 4 equals 40. But we have a little trick question here. It says, what if Edgardo only uses 36 quarts of water to fill the cooler? So we have 36 on the bottom. How can you use the table to find how many gallons that is? So we have 36 on the bottom. Now we're trying to figure out what is on the top, okay? So we did, to get from top to bottom, we multiplied by 4. So think about this. If we're trying to get from bottom to top, what's the exact opposite of multiplying by 4? It's dividing by 4. So we're going to take 36 divided by 4, and that's going to give us 9 gallons, okay? And that fits in there perfectly. If we were to put 36 in that spot, we could put a 9 right above it, okay? So don't let that trick you. So if you're working from bottom to top, just do the opposite of what you would do from top to bottom, okay? All right, so again, this is just a little bit of a close-up for that one, okay? So what if we had 80 on the bottom here? And we were trying to look for how many, if there were 80 quarts, how many were there in a gallon? So to get from top to bottom, again, we multiply by 4. So to get from bottom to top, we will be dividing by 4. So 80 divided by 4, 4 goes into 8 2 times, that gives me 8. Subtraction, 0, bring down your 0. 4 doesn't go into 0, so we put a placeholder 0. The top of that would be 20 gallons, okay? All right, 5th grade. Some of the questions today are a little bit tricky. Some of them have a lot of different parts to them, and you really have to focus and really work hard to understand what they're asking you. So I hope that this was helpful, and I'm going to keep doing these because I think that they're really interactive and can give you a jump start before you get started on your interactive edition. I look forward to posting 10.7. Have a good day.